to get started with. This shit is, you gotta wait for the signal to go through to YouTube. Fuck YouTube. Even though, as I'm using YouTube. We're live with another episode of BS Busters. We're a little bit early. But it's just the two of us, so we'll get through this podcast relatively quickly. But before we go any further, I'll have our my co-host introduce himself. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
Well, it's Kenoshi Abominito here to say that the mini direct wasn't too bad yesterday.
Shit. Too bad. It was great. It was better than Sony's thing, at least to me. But I'm biased because it had stuff I actually wanted to hear about, whereas, Sony was like, okay, whatever, I don't care. But anyway, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. Let's get into it. So, we have a few topics to go through for today's cast. I guess we'll get through the smaller topics first. The main topic for tonight's cast will be GTA clones that we would want to see. And when I say clone, I don't mean a specific game. I mean just in general, like a GTA game, a GTA type game that actually was set in a science fiction universe, or a GTA game set in a fantastic universe where you had magic and shit. That's what I mean by clone. I don't mean like, although we could also say, Simpsons GTA clone, or another Godfather GTA clone, something like that. But that's going to be the main topic for the end of the cast, to close everything out. Instead, let's talk about that Nintendo Mini Direct. So, with that being said, we talked about it on your cast, but I mean, I'm just going to give my overall thoughts on it. I think that Nintendo's Mini Direct was really good. I mean, it was like 20 minutes, 24 minutes, and I thought it was really good.
I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, it was surprising compared to how those partner showcases usually go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Kenoshi. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I think everybody would find appealing in it. Honestly, if the Switch is the only gaming platform you own, it was a pretty good showing.
Yeah, they gave you a reason to pull your Switch out of the out of its dock and turn it on, which I give credit to. Let's see. For me, I think the Direct overall was pretty good, even though there was shit that I didn't really care about. Like, I don't give a shit about Mario Cross Rabbids, but I know there are people who like that game, so something for you. I heard a little bit of chatter from some people saying that they wished that, like, stuff that they wanted, stuff that they heard fake ass leakers put out. Well, they're gonna have a Metroid Prime remaster and all this shit. It's like, there was no one said that. No one reputable even said that shit. Yeah. It was all those baseless rumor people who just throw shit against the wall hoping something will stick.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. So, yeah, I think from a business standpoint, it was a good Direct because they basically had a little bit of something for everybody. Harvestella looks great. It looks like a bigger budget Rune Factory, because the Rune Factory games were always kind of like low budget, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. I enjoyed what I saw.
Yeah, it looked like a bigger budget Rune Factory, because Rune Factory doesn't, like, I don't know about Rune Factory 5 because I haven't played it, but Rune Factory 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're in a town, you go into dungeons, you go back. This game looks like there's multiple villages, maybe like a city or two to travel to. you know, there's more shit going on except for, okay, I'm in town, I marry someone, I go into the dungeons, some of which are randomly generated. You know, it's like, oh wow, there's actually more going on here. The combat looks like it's kind of fun. A little simplistic, but fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, the mini direct the mini direct look was pretty cool, and you know, I think it shows that when Nintendo actually gets their shit together, they can do some really awesome shit. As an aside, I heard some people were saying, "Well, I'm kind of upset that they didn't roll this in the with the direct they had for Xenoblade Chronicles 3," but I was like, that would have been too much.
Yeah, that would have been too long.
That would have been, well, not just that. That would have been too much information. It would have been overwhelming. So I'm glad they split it up and they had one direct just for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and one direct just for like these smaller indie titles, like AA, single A games and indie titles. And I know they're no. Go ahead, Kenoshi.
They even had a treehouse on Live Alive that I still got. Live Alive that I still have to watch.
Yeah, I'm trying.
You don't like the tree houses?
No, I like the tree houses. It's just for stuff for RPGs. I tend not to watch the tree houses because it spoils too much.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Like I want to go into that fresh and kind of navigate my own way through it. Plus, I've already played Live Alive, the original, so it's like I'm very familiar with. Even though they HD 2Dified it, I still pretty much like I understand that there's certain scenarios where you're kind of not. You really shouldn't be fighting and grinding against enemies. There are other scenarios where grinding actually is to your benefit. I'm probably not going to like the localization of the new game because I know they're going to change some shit around because to make it more friendly. Although they might surprise me. Like in the prehistoric segment, the big thing is that your main character is a caveman who is essentially trying to get your girlfriend, and at the end of it, in the fan translation, you and your girlfriend go into the cave and fuck. Like you have a female, you have a male ape who's one of your NPC companions in your party, and he winds up leaving you halfway through because he finds a female ape and they go off in the bushes and fuck. So I mean, really, the quote unquote the earliest scenario I typically, when I play Live Alive, go with is the caveman scenario, and it's all about your character just trying to find a mate and fuck. It's really. I mean, and they probably won't have that. They'll probably like try and soften it up. But I'm like, no, I like this sentiment that you're actually going with more baser instincts for some of the for one of the baser ones. But whatever. Anyway, but I'm still getting Live Alive, so I don't care. Or I might wait till it comes to PC. It depends on how I feel. Anyway, with that being said, anything else you want? Any other games during the direct where you're like, oh, this looks amazing?
So happy to see Persona finally get announced to the Switch. I know it was rumored and it pretty much leaked out. I mean, it's coming to Xbox, it's coming to PlayStation. Nintendo obviously wanted to announce it on their own time, so that's something people were hoping, waiting for. So
yeah, they finally got what they wanted.
Yeah.
Now they can stop whining about the shit and shut the fuck up.
I'll probably get it on PC and get a physical copy for Switch, just to have a physical copy.
I already have a physical copy for the PS4 for Persona 5 Royal, so I'll probably get it on PC so that I can hack the shit out of it and make it easier to play. Yeah. Because I'm cheap. No, I'm not cheap. But because Persona games are fun to hack. Because even if you hack them, they still aren't easy. But that's my own personal opinion. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that, Nintendo gamers have gotten a chance to play, are getting a chance to play like arguably one of the best JRPG series, old school style JRPG series we've had in a while, that are part like your typical tropey JRPG, but also part relationship simulator.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the only downside is that I don't think there's going to be a deluxe version for Persona 3. Because when I got Persona 3, like this is when all of Atlas's physical copies were limited runs, and they came with like all of them came with bennies. So like Persona came with like a sound CD that had the soundtrack and shit like that. And the soundtrack for Persona 3 is actually really good.
Yeah.
Like it's like, damn, this is much better than it has any business being. Same thing with 4. 4 has some good music. 5 I haven't really gotten that into because I just don't really turn on my PS4 that much, which is why I'm kind of glad that they're bringing it to PC.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's keep it moving. So, is there anything? I mean, I know we've both universally praised the Nintendo Mini Direct. Is there anything you wish they'd shown at the Mini Direct?
I wish they would have shown some Bayonetta 3, some more Bayonetta 3 footage. Because that early footage looked
kind of iffy, kind of rough. Yeah.
Pretty,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I can understand where you're coming from, but I've kind of made peace with the fact that a lot of shit that the Switch has is just
It is what it is.
Yeah, the Switch is basically the successor to the 3DS, and you can't expect a lot of power from the 3DS. Even the new 3DS, it's a handheld. You're just not going to get certain types of things with it. For what it's able to do as a handheld is amazing, but if you're expecting games that are going to blow your socks off and have great performance, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
So, anyway, 2 thumbs up for Nintendo's Mini Direct. It was pretty good. I guess we should keep it moving. Activision Blizzard still sucks.
No surprise there.
So basically, recently, Activision Blizzard had a internal investigation that basically said that while there are systemic issues with how they've been handling their employees, that they absolved themselves of all they're doing. It's the equivalent of like if you hear about a fucked up police department doing their own internal investigation and saying, well, yeah, there's some issues, but we didn't do anything wrong. And then later on, when a third party, an independent party, does the investigation, they find out there's all these fucking issues. You can't trust people to a corrupt organization to investigate itself because they're corrupt.
Yeah.
So yeah, on top of that, the executive board has been reelected once again. So the people who caused this problem are still there. I mean, Activision Blizzard sucks. It's a terrible company, and I just like the way I feel about it. I don't want to give them any of my money.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, I mean, even if it's a game, like, even if Activision Blizzard tomorrow said, okay, we're going to bring back old IPs that people love, I can't legitimately give them my money because they have shown that they are not worth my time. And that my money would be going to perpetuate a corrupt and severely ass backwards system. And, this isn't, and this is just my own personal opinion. This is a no-brainer because video games are a luxury. And not only are video games a luxury, but there's other places where I can play video games that don't treat their employees like that.
Yeah.
It's not like I fucking hate Walmart, but if I live someplace where the closest grocery store to me was 20 miles away, whereas the Walmart's only 2 miles away, I'm going to have to shop at Walmart, more or less, because the closest place to me. This is not the case here. You know, there's other, like, Activision Blizzard isn't the only place. Blizzard isn't the only place making MMOs. Activision isn't the only place making FPSs. You know, there is no IP that I absolutely need to, like, go to Activision Blizzard to play. So,
yeah,
you know, I can't do it. You know, I mean, the straw that broke the camel's back for me was when I heard about people breaking into the nursing mothers, the nursing rooms that businesses have, where mothers can, you know, feed their children and put the breast milk away in the freezers, and people breaking in, stealing the fucking breast milk. I'm like, you literally are stealing food from the mouths of babes. I mean, that is some foul ass shit right there. Fuck this company. I mean, literally, fuck this company. If a meteor fell out of the sky and landed in Activision Blizzard headquarters and just took out the executive board, I wouldn't feel bad. I'm sorry. I know people are like, well, what about their families? They didn't give a fuck about anyone else's family. So fuck them. And I'm glad I'm not a programmer, and I'm glad I don't work for that company. Because if I did, I would probably be, you know, there's a reason that all these people are forming unions. Okay? Yeah. Employees that are taken care of don't form unions. Okay? The reason employees form unions is because they've been getting fucked over. All right? But anyway, anything you want to add about Activision Blizzard sucking before we move on to another company that sucks?
That's a shame what they did to the creators of the Tony Hawk remake game.
Oh yeah. They made a great game that was successful. It sold over 1 million copies. It was the fastest selling Tony Hawk's game in years. And it sold at like 50. It sold at full AAA price, $60, and they literally rolled them up into Blizzard to make fucking Blizzard shit.
Yeah.
Which is just, you know what that's like? That's like having a kid who's in elementary school who excels at math, right? They're in the advanced math class and they get like straight A's, right? And then the next year you put them in remedial math the year after. Just to be a fucking dick. That's what they did. Activision Blizzard, you're a fucking trash ass company. And you don't deserve to be bailed out by Microsoft, to be honest with you. You really don't. But whatever. Speaking of trash-ass companies, CD Projekt Red, not themselves, the actual people in charge of CD Projekt Red to say, well, the reason Cyberpunk 2077 is the way it is, it's ultimately the buck stops with us. We fucked up. But some people are trying to spin the story that the reason Cyberpunk 2077 had the bugs it had is because of the Q&A company that they contracted Q&A out to were lying about the bugs, which is bullshit. Because you know that people in the mid and upper tier were playing this game constantly, and there was there's no way you could be internally playing Cyberpunk 2077 and not realize, yes, this is broken. This is fundamentally broken. Like ultimately, I think because CD Projekt Red became such a darling with The Witcher 3, people don't want to believe that they are a corporation just like everywhere else, and they would cut corners to get something out, and people don't want to believe it.
Yeah.
But even if you look, all these companies, they're businesses. They will cut corners to get something out. I mean, I'm a Nintendo fan. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Breath of the Wild on the Switch were shat out because they had game-breaking bugs in both of those games. All right? The only difference is that Nintendo has really good developers. And they fixed a lot of those issues. So, like, Nintendo, like, when Nintendo's developers are so good that even when they're half-assing it, they're still pretty goddamn good. Okay? But that is a completely different, that's a completely different animal than, CDPR. Because don't forget, every other CDPR game that they've come out with, like The Witcher 1, The Witcher 1 when it first released was trash. They had to do a director's cut of The Witcher 1 that plays better, but still not that good. The Witcher 2, the same thing. The original release of The Witcher 2, it played marginally better than The Witcher 1. It still wasn't a great game. They had to do a director's cut after the fact that made it play a lot better. The Witcher 3, combat-wise, played a lot better than the first two games. But once again, there was a director's cut years after the fact that fixed a lot of those inherent flaws with that game. So, what I'm saying is that these people aren't the best developers of all time. All right?
Yeah.
They're good. They're not great. So, like them rushing to get something out. Not to mention that they were, CDPR, most of their games are primarily PC first, everything else second. They didn't even port The Witcher 3 to the Switch. They got a port studio to port The Witcher 3 to the Switch. So, they are, they're a PC developer, okay? That's their thing. I can't believe people are like, oh, this game ran like shit on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Because it wasn't made for the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Yeah.
It's like, back in the day, there was a DOS version of Myst that you could install with floppy disks, but it wasn't really made for a floppy disk install. Like, it was made for CDs. Like, that's what it was made for back in the day. So, it's like, don't be surprised that something runs like shit when it's being run on something it wasn't really designed for. But, you have any thoughts about this? Any ideas? Any profound thoughts? Anything you want to add?
Obviously, people should be fired. People should be fired. There definitely needs to be. Yeah, definitely needs to be some kind of reckoning. Something that happened, some sort of shakeup. Because obviously they're not gonna. The people in charge aren't gonna learn from this again. Half the time they never do, and because they did sell a lot of copies despite the game being buggy and broken on launch, at least on consoles. It didn't fare particularly well on PC, but it was awesome on consoles.
Well, if you had a powerful enough PC, like, there were bugs, but it was still playable. But if you had it on if you had a lower end PC or PS4 or the Xbox One, oh boy, that's a slog right there. It was not fun. But anyway, that's my own, I agree with you. And the thing is, even if, like, here's where I'm kind of like, this argument, this excuse that people are trying to make for CD Projekt Red is bullshit. Because even if their QA testers were obfuscating how badly the game was running, ultimately there had to have been a build that they were gonna get ready to go out that was played internally, where they're like, oh no, this can't go out. And it turns out that's why so many CDPR devs left after Cyberpunk 2077 was released. They were like, it's too broken. And our names are on this shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, um, well, I got some breaking news. We'll cover it in the free topic portion and slash unpopular opinion segment.
But
Well, I mean, it's business related, but I mean, this is BS Busters. So, yeah, I think we've belabored the bullshit that is CDPR. Basically, there's no excuse for Cyberpunk 27 being the way it is, aside from CDPR wanting to meet an arbitrary deadline, and they lost millions of dollars because they were expecting this game to sell 30 million, and it only sold like 18, and like it sold like 8-10 million at $60 a pop, and then the other 8 million it sold because it was like the price was cut like by 50%, like on sales, and that's still them losing money, right? So yeah, CDPR lost a lot of money trying to shit out a game that they knew was not ready, and they would have done better taking a financial hit, like taking 100 million financial hit for that year, and working on the game for another year to polish it up to where it needed to be, instead of just shitting it out and saying, well, we'll fix it after the fact. No, you won't. Because there's still issues with this game.
yeah.
And the sad thing is
Yeah,
that...
and there's
No, go ahead, Ganoshi. Sorry.
right, and there's I'm sure at some point they're gonna be like, when their next project comes out, and if they're still game breaking bugs, they're gonna be like, oh well, we've moved on. We've moved on, guys.
I mean, they kind of already have. Like, they were supposed to have like 3 or 4 large bits of DLC for this game, like expansions, like they did for The Witcher 3. You're gonna get like maybe one huge expansion, and that's it, because they lost so much money on this game. But it's not the people who bought this game's fault. It's CDPR's fault, because they shouldn't have shat this game out. They just shat it out, and they were expecting, and like they destroyed their goodwill. They destroyed, a lot of stuff. But anyway, speaking of people destroying their goodwill and being full of shit, we got some breaking news. Now this comes via Kotaku. Remember the studio that made Pokemon Go? Everyone was like, this game is great. And I was like, I don't like this. It's very microtransaction heavy. But a lot of people liked it. The studio that made Pokemon Go, Niantic, is fucked. Alright? Okay, so Niantic is struggling to find its next big hit. Now, as you know, Pokemon Go has kind of gone down in price because people are like, this is stupid. But But basically, they were trying to keep it moving, but by streamlining their operations, which is just a fancy way of saying they fired a whole bunch of people. So basically, they fired 80. They're cutting 85 to 90 jobs, and they canceled 4 in development games. A Transformers spinoff called Heavy Metal, and 3 other projects. All right. Their CEO, John Hanke, to staff that the company was facing a time of economic turmoil, and that after previous efforts to cut costs, Niantic still needed to further streamline our operations in order to best position the company to weather any economic storms that may lay ahead. Niantic found success with 2016's. Oh wait, here are the other three. Here's the other three games they were going to that were canceled. A canceled game called Hamlet, which was a collaboration between Niantic and a theater company called Punch Drunk. Excuse me, let me wipe my glasses down. They're a little dirty right now. And two codename games called Blue Sky and Snowball. Niantic found big success in 2016 with their augmented reality powered Pokemon Go, but it still hasn't been able to replicate that success. In 2019, the studio released Harry Potter Wizards Unite, but it never found a large audience and was eventually shut down earlier this year. Other games based on Pikmin and Catan have also failed to set the world on fire.
Wow, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's gotta be tough to, find the next big thing. Because, you gotta keep making money. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket, as the old cliche goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way I feel about it is, Pokemon Go was a poisoned cup because, you were going to get a whole bunch of casual people who were who maybe played Pokemon Red and Blue back in the day, and they would get into it, and then after a while they'd get tired of it and move the fuck on, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And then they lost a lot of money, because hardcore people didn't give a fuck about Pokemon Go. They looked at it, maybe played it for a week or a month and said fuck this and moved the fuck on. And casuals stayed and spent money, but then they eventually moved the fuck on. So unless you had people who were hardcore for Pokemon Go, which it's hard to be hardcore for a game where you have to have your expensive $600+ cell phone out in order to play it, walking around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to find a Pokemon. It was not very well realized, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it was popular for about a couple of years or so.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I mean, like I said, they started in 2016 with Pokemon Go. That was their big hit. And Pokemon Go that first year was doing gangbusters. Then the second year, it started going down. And then by the third year, it was was anyone still playing this? I know there was a dedicated fan base of Pokemon Go people, but most people were I don't give a shit about this. Plus, I mean, like I said, Pokemon Go probably would have been more interesting and probably would have had a bigger fan base if they had it in such a way so that, you could connect your account in Pokemon Go to your Pokemon account in your games. So then those hardcore Pokemon people could catch Pokemon in Pokemon Go and transfer them to their game. Because then they would have had an incentive to play Pokemon Go. But there was no crossover incentivization between the two things. So, what was the fucking point?
Yeah.
But whatever. So, speaking of people who are full of shit, Unity. Founded in the mid-2000s, Unity is used by thousands of developers. You've probably seen its logo pop up in the loading screens of some of your favorite or least favorite games. Now, in 2014... no, go ahead, Kenoshi.
Power Rangers Battlefield Grid uses Unity.
Yeah. I mean, basically, when you want to go cheap and you don't want to spend a lot of money, Unity. But when Unity is used well, it's a wonderful engine. But when it's not used well, it's kind of shit. But in 2014, former EA head John Riccitiello took over as CEO. And once again, John Riccitiello is running a company into the goddamn ground. So, in 2020, Riccitiello reportedly saw his compensation drop by 160% to 22 million. The firm used to employ 3,300 people as of June 2020. With the SEC, that's the Security and Exchange Commission, through the company's LinkedIn and Glassdoor pages, pegs that figure is north of 5,000. So that's probably like 3,000 permanent employees and probably 2,000 contractors. But anyway, they're having a massive layoff. Well, at least relatively massive. Right now, we know that like 300 to 400 people have been let go, and there's probably more are also coming. Those who lost their jobs this week were asked by their bosses to suddenly log into a video call with no advance notice of what the call was about. But for some of these calls, a member of Unity's Human Resources Department also logged into the meeting. And in those situations, it's pretty clear what that means.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So here's what's been going on in the back. According to people who, work there, they say Unity has been a shit show lately. One person familiar with the situation said, attrition, mismanagement, strategic pivots at a rapid, unpredictable rate. Unity has also gone on a bit of an acquisition spree lately. Last year, Unity purchased the digital effects studio Weta, founded by film director Peter Jackson, known for its work on the Avatar and Lord of the Rings films, for $1.62 billion. In August, Unity acquired Parsec, which leverages cloud tech to allow users to stream video games for $320 million. 2 weeks.
I kind of like using Parsec. They're gonna fuck that up too, aren't they?
Considering that John Riccatello is at the head, probably.
Yeah, goodbye Parsec. Yeah, it was a fun little remote service they use for when you're away from your computer and you have a laptop and you can just kind of use your computer as a cloud gaming server. But yeah.
So like Xbox Cloud, except cheaper because it's not Xbox. It doesn't have Microsoft's name on it.
It's actually your computer.
All right. So. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, John Riccatello strikes again. He wasn't content with running. He wasn't content with fucking ruining EA. He's got to ruin Unity too. Oh well. So back to Activision Blizzard for a brief moment. Bobby Kotick is still trying to hide the scale of Activision Blizzard's problems. I'm just gonna put this in the chat. You can read it at your time at whenever you want to. You can probably talk about it next week. Bobby Kotick is a piece of shit. You can quote me on that. I don't care if people. I mean, what's he gonna do? Sue me? That toad-looking motherfucker. Anyway, so let's talk about something more fun. So, as we all know, in the 6th gen, the GTA clones really started to take off. Shit like Driver, The Godfather, Black Hand Edition, La Cosa Nostra, all that type of shit. Scarface, The World Is Yours, Saints Row. But all these games, Mafia, all these games tended to be very grounded. And I don't know about you, except for Saints Row. Saints Row eventually became very non-grounded, and it got to be ridiculous. But I recently was thinking to myself, I said, Self, wouldn't it be interesting to have a Grand Theft Auto clone that actually, still was kind of grounded, but did something different? So I thought to myself, wouldn't it be interesting to have a GTA clone that went sci-fi, or in general just a GTA game that went science fiction? And I know they kind of did. No, go ahead, Kenoshi.
So it wouldn't be interesting to have like a GTA where you're like in a space colony with all these space stations and you're just flying around taking people's spaceships?
Yeah.
going on, dealing with some kind of space drug, uh, listening to listening to vaporwave music as you're flying around your spaceship. I don't know. That's something.
I'd be cool with that.
That's one idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually wrote some notes down because I was brainstorming earlier today when I was busy getting some other stuff done. I had time. I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a GTA where you get abducted by aliens who just like these aliens are essentially the drug dealers of the galaxy, and they have figured out how to synthesize a drug using a human organs. And as they harvest these organs in order to make this drug, the human dies. But they abducted the wrong human because your character is typical GTA. You're a criminal who's like, I'm not gonna let these motherfuckers kill me in order to get my organs. So you fight back, but the aliens, not only are they having to deal with you rampaging in the ship after you slipped your confines, but the game's version of the police in in a science fiction setting show up and start getting on their asses. So the aliens who are left over, they destroy the navigation computer, so like no one can find their base or where the fuck they abducted your ass from. So you can't go back home immediately, and you can't find where the aliens are based. And you're basically picked up by the police, and now you're a refugee. So the game kind of gives you your excuse for, okay, I'm a refugee, I don't have a home. Maybe you get like a little 200, the equivalent of $200 in your pocket, and you're deposited in the alien quarter, which for you is basically like people who've been abducted and stranded are kind of like in the shittiest part of the city. you know, crime is rampant. People are being taken advantage of, that type of thing. And that's the start of the game, you know? So you have your GTA tropes where, you've got a little bit of nothing or nothing, and you got to start from the bottom and work your way up. But it's science fiction, so you could have like weird spaceships, aliens, interesting weapons, cool stuff like that.
Yeah, that could be cool. Sort of like medieval GTA, I guess, has kind of been done with like Fable. I don't know.
Eh, I mean, I would.
The first game, but.
Eh, I mean, Fable. I don't want to say Fable's like GTA. Because if they did like a fantastical GTA, I would think the best way to really pull it off would be, like actually that'd be easier because then you could replace the like normal shit. Like instead of grenades, you would have magic potions. Your special weapons would be magic. So instead of like a rocket launcher, you'd have like a magic wand or some shit. Um, like what if they did a magic a GTA clone that that was set in a fantastical universe, and they went with the three protagonist thing they did in GTA 5, except each protagonist essentially was like a fantasy class trope. So like one character is a former soldier turned mercenary, another character is a thief, and then another character is a magic user.
Yeah.
So then you have the three different like classes represented. So then you could basically mix and match. It's like, well, I want to do this mission, and I want to use this type of character to do it. And like once you do the little like origin missions for each of the three characters, or like the introductory missions or whatever, you can apply those classes to other characters. But like let's say the soldier character is already like mid class with their like the abilities and stats they have. So if you play as the thief character and you make them into a melee class, they're going to start at the bottom because that's not their forte. They're not good at it. So then you can kind of, mix and match. And maybe they might play differently because, if you're someone who's a thief, you're clearly going to have a different way of doing things than someone who is, a straight up magic user.
Yeah.
Or, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and of course you could have like inherent little special abilities, like, I don't know, like maybe the magic user, even if you switch their class to a soldier, their special ability is that they can use magical attacks to like fuck people up. Maybe make dudes, maybe characters in their immediate area, their heads explode, or they pass out or something. Or maybe if people shoot stuff at them, they can freeze them in the air and make them fall to the ground. Like take out all kinetic force from projectiles. Maybe the soldier has like can go berserk. So like damage, instead of like if they go berserk and they take damage, instead of it doing actual damage, they just get more powerful and their attacks hit harder. Or maybe they take damage but they just can't die. Like if their health goes down to 1%, they're basically invincible for a period of time, and they do extra damage. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, GTA has so much cool shit it could do. And I don't, like, I wish they would actually, do some interesting things with it instead of just what we've been getting, which is the same shit over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to do something different. You gotta mix it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's why like Saints Row, because Saints Row actually does something, like Saints Row actually did something different. It actually embraced the wackiness of you know the GTA sandbox formula. Um, the only downside about Saints Row is that like with each iteration after two, they streamlined the game so much that like a lot of content was stripped out, and it focused so much on like side missions that the fourth game, everything is a side mission. Like I'd say like 85% of the gameplay is just side missions,
Yeah.
which is kind of like, you know, I mean, I guess that's why I don't like Breath of the Wild, because like 90% of that game is just side missions and side
Yeah.
quests. But anyway,
Yeah. The thing about GTA is like it's only so many times you can just run around a city and
yeah,
shoot your enemies with the same old typical weapons.
yeah. I mean, that's where I'd have to say that Saints Row gets it right, because you can use different types of weapons, whereas GTA 5, the base game, has some really shitty weapon customization options. It's like, oh, you can like add a flashlight to your 9mm. It's like, oh, okay. I mean, I don't know about you. I didn't get into a lot of firefights in GTA 5. Like the only time
Yeah.
gunplay really was important in GTA 5 is when you're in heists. Like, and really, when that happened, you just call Trevor and just let him kill a lot of people, because that's all Trevor's really good for. Aside from that, he's fucking useless.
Yeah.
But Any other GTA clones? I mean, any other GTA genres? Are there any other genres you would like to see the GTA formula added to, or like used with? Like a
Another fantastical one is you could have a GTA based in like a cloud city or something like that, or like a
that'd be cool.
undersea city.
That'd be cool. Imagine
Yeah.
like a Bioshock-esque game. Well, a setting kind of like Rapture, but
Somewhere between Rapture and Mute City from Cyberpunk.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And if it was done well, that'd be awesome. Keyword: if it was done well.
Yeah.
Because we all know it would probably be some rushed, low budget bullshit. And then the developers would be like, well, you didn't buy our game because your game wasn't well constructed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I wish people would stop getting mad because people are like, yeah, why don't you do this? No, we can't do that. But anyway, so anything else you want to? We're at the free topic. We're at the unpopular opinion segment. Unpopular opinion. Do you have any unpopular opinion you'd like to say?
Mm,
Any news
not
you
this.
were like, this is kind of interesting?
Um, not this week.
All right. Okay. I have an unpopular opinion. Um, I liked Obi-Wan, but I'm gonna say something that's unpopular. I think Reva shouldn't have been in it. Reva was a waste of time,
Yeah.
and she adds unnecessary plot holes. Cause now we're gonna have to. Now it's gonna be like, hey, Luke, remember when some random black chick tried to fucking murder your ass? Remember that shit? It's like, why would you do that? Like, why couldn't you just like, okay, if you guys wanted to have Reva, put Reva in her own shit. All right, let Obi-Wan should have just been between Obi-Wan and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. That's all it should have been. We did not need Reva. She was a fucking waste of time. And I knew and I know that Disney, I know that they want to add new characters and shit like that. But the problem is that we have seen Darth Vader kill people for less. And yet Reva got away with so much shit. And Darth Vader just, oh God, fuck. Disney, stop doing this. Stop doing this. Stop making characters not act the way they should be acting because you want to create a new character that most people are not going to give a shit about. Stop doing that. It's annoying.
Leave shit alone.
Yeah.
Just leave shit alone.
If you want to create, okay, fine then. You wanted to have Reva as a character, then fine then. Do a fucking 6-episode miniseries called Inquisitors, talking about. You could have had Reva as, okay, I'm a fallen Jedi who essentially has become an Inquisitor, and I want to get revenge on these people who fucking killed all my friends and my family. Okay, that would have been interesting. But don't splice her fucking story in with Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, Leia, and Darth Vader. It's unnecessary. Unfucking necessary. And then, if you're going to do that, okay, fine then. If you had written really good dialogue for Reva, I wouldn't say shit. But that fucking terrible ass fucking dialogue, terrible ass direction. And there's the thing is that Eleanor Chow I've seen some of her. It's like some parts of Obi-Wan Kenobi are really well shot and really well directed. Some parts of it is just like trash. Consistency. And you guys didn't even have to do 12, 13 episodes. 6. You couldn't even fucking hold it together for 6. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know. But I don't blame Ellen Chow. I don't blame Ellen Chow. I blame Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy, you need to fucking go.
Yeah.
You've had your shot. You missed. You gotta go. But,
yeah.
That's my unpopular opinion. I know some people will disagree. I don't care. That's my opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion, even if people don't like it. That's how I feel.
Maria Paz.
Do you have any? You sure you don't have any unpopular opinion? Nothing you wanna? Movies, TV, video games, nothing.
Nah, not today.
All right. Anyway.
Free time?
No, go ahead.
Are we doing a free topic?
Yeah, we're on the free topic / unpopular opinion. Anything you wanna? Anything
okay.
you wanna? Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a video. I posted it about the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
About the 1980s one.
Yes.
Man, what a mess! Like, they have Toei Animation doing the first season.
Yep.
Which from the clips I saw of it, looked pretty incredible.
Look pretty goddamn good. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and then they went into Cheapsville.
Yep.
Until season 8, and then they went back doing more of a
stylized, grittier. Yeah. By then it was too late though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lived it. I mean, look. It started in '87. This is the shit I grew up watching, and the first 2-3 seasons of TMNT were amazing. I mean, especially the first season. The first season still holds up. It's really good. It's when the turtles were still allowed to be violent, and like Splinter just. There's like scenes where Splinter just cold cocks the shit out of somebody. He's like, "Yeah, get the fuck out of my face." When Baxter's, even in season 2, where Baxter Stockman turns into his fly form, it's some horrific shit. It's like, god damn. And then, they just, it became more about selling toys than actually doing, some good, some decent animation. All the really good cartoons back then were like that. Like, that's what happened to Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad, but that's the world we live in. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe, I don't know. So, do you have, the sad thing is that, like, I grew up with, I like, for me, for people below me, their big thing was they liked, the big thing for those people was Power Rangers. But, Power Rangers wasn't really my thing. My thing was TMNT. That was my shit right there. I loved TMNT.
Yeah, I grew up, again, I watched the 2004 one that came on Fox Kids or Fox Spot. That whole situation is weird. Fox Kids, and then it went to 4Kids TV, then the Fox Box. And what was
but that was all Fox though. They just kept on renaming the shit.
Was there just like different people in charge of that?
No,
those segments, is that?
No, they just it was the same shit. It was still under Fox. They just kept on renaming it. That's what they.
No, it's just confusing. I don't really know.
Yeah, they didn't, because basically a new CEO would come in and they were like, I have a better idea, and they would just fucking, because it was the same block of cartoons. They just changed the name all the goddamn time. There was no fucking consistency.
Not to mention their terrible localization. Oh man.
Mm.
One Piece, what they did to One Piece.
I didn't watch One Piece back then, unfortunately.
I remember One Piece on 4Kids TV. It was terrible.
It was shit. Yeah, yeah. I remember when they did the big thing back then. The big thing that I was like, this is some fucking terrible localization. Was what was it called? It was Dragon Ball Z.
And One Piece was more aimed towards like older teenagers, young adults, and you know Fox Kids was more aged to like younger kids, and yeah, you watch One Piece, Funny Nation, unedited.
Oh yeah,
that definitely wasn't for kids.
I mean, it's like DBZ. Like, if you watch like DBZ the way it was meant to be seen, there was some fucked up shit going on in DBZ. It's like, this isn't for kids.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was weird. But yeah, but the 2004 Ninja Turtles is pretty consistent for
Yeah.
the most part.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I just kind of find it baffling. It's like nobody was like, "Wait, this is kind of weird. Why are we doing this during the 80s?" During the 80s broadcast, and whatever.
Yeah, here's what I'm gonna say, and I know some people are gonna get mad at me. I like the 2004 series because it kind of was a throwback to the original comics.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. I didn't like that it hewed so closely to the comics though, because I actually like the change that they made in the 87 series where Splinter and Yoshi are the same person. Whereas the idea of a rat learning kung fu by watching a guy do kung fu seems stupid to me. That's the one thing where I'm like, this is stupid. I'm sorry. No. No.
Yeah, I can see that. That is kind of silly.
I can let a lot of shit go, but that's the one where I'm like, okay, this is no. No.
Hi, I'm Audrey.
But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong, you know. To each his own. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, just because of nostalgia, I like the 87 series a little bit more. I think the 2004 series is also great. I didn't like that CGI one they did. And that the latest one they did where they fucking changed up the turtles entirely. I was like, fuck that series from Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Where Michelangelo was the leader. I'm like, no, you already done fucked up.
Yeah.
Look, it's in the song. Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines. Raphael was the leader. Raphael is cool but crude. And Michelangelo, he's the party dude. Those are their personalities. That's it. Don't fuck it up. Oh, we want to change it. No, fuck you. We don't. These people are like, well, we can make it better. No, you can't. Stop it.
Just leave it alone. Just leave shit alone.
Leave it the fuck. Like, okay, unless you have such a new idea that it is dramatically changing it in such a way that it, like, wow, you've changed everything. But that's not what's going on. They're changing shit and it's worse. Because I guarantee that new show has been canceled already. Or it's on its way out the door. Matter of fact, I can look it up. The new TMNT, latest TMNT show. Let's see. It's called Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it was canceled. It didn't even make it to 52 episodes.
Wow.
And the whole thing is one big fucking prequel. Because at the end of it, Leonardo becomes the leader.
Oh.
With this fucking ugly ass new Cal animation style. This Cal art shit. The only thing that they got right is that April was originally black. That's the only thing they got right in this new series. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. April O'Neil in the original comics was black. She had a Jerry curl. She actually was still kind of hot, I'll admit, even for the 80s. April's always been kind of hot. I give credit to where credit's due. April's always been hot. But aside from that, yeah, I was like, yeah, you fucked up. But yeah. But yeah, love me some TMNT. I hope it turns out to be good yet again. That's all I gotta say. Do you have any other free topics you want to add before we wrap things up?
No.
Okay. That's the end of this cast. We it's only a little bit over an hour. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to get in touch with the channel, you can reach me at bsbusters001 at gmail.com, or the chat, or the Discord. The links are in the description. Kenoshi, give your sign out. Pimp out whatever you want to pimp out.
Project Console Tuesday nights at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Be there, be nowhere. See you guys next week.
All right. Peace. Good night. And have fun. Peace.